Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another evening of Monday Night Magic with your favorite epigenetic geeks, my amazing colleague and friend, Ken Close, and myself, Lori Falk. We are thrilled to be here with you this evening to discuss the chronic conditions that are on the rise and what the heck we're going to do about it. We all know they're on the rise. We all know a lot of the reasons they're on the rise, which we won't go into. We have too much information to deal with the why it all happened. But the key is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it for yourself? What are you going to do about it for your family members? What are you going to do about it for your clients? Depending on your position in life will depend on where you take this information. But what we know for sure is it's valuable information that we are thrilled to be sharing with you this evening. And we know that you'll use it, you'll share it, and it'll be a lovely evening. What do you
Right.
think, Ken?
I love that. The thing is okay, we don't we don't want to try to like, okay, here's a negative. Here's a negative. Chronic conditions on the rise. Here's a negative. But we do live in a world where there's a default mode. What's the default mode? There is a lot of potential negative energy out there. So again, what we wanted to kind of talk about is, okay, so here's a challenge. Here's a condition. What can you do about it? Right? It's on the rise, as Lori said. What can you do about it? It's not about being a hostage or a victim to these things, but learning about them, understanding what you can do about them. But I think also I see oftentimes many people are just having some condition in their bodies and really don't even know that it's some kind of a chronic thing within our world. It's like it's just individual to them. Yes. And when we think it's just individual to us, and believe me, folks, there is no unique condition. I know your suffering seems to be the only one in the world that's happening to you, right? But there's not a unique condition. And it's just that if it's if your world is, I don't want to say it uh, small, but I mean, if your world is not like, you've got your neighborhood, you've got your home, you've got certain demographics, and if it's just in that neighborhood, maybe that your condition doesn't exist anywhere else except for your neighborhood, just you, right? But in the world, globally, we're talking about globally, these conditions are happening, and we want to really talk about how do we get there? How do we get there? And then how do we get out? Right? I think those are two great tools. If we understand how we got there and then we understand how we get out, those two principles in my world of engineering, it's all about principles. It's like, let's understand the path that got us here and let's really explore the path that gets us out. Right?
You
Sounds
know what that means. You know what that means, guys, right? He's going to reverse engineer it.
we're going to reverse engineer things because it's like, I again, all the way, no matter what's happening in this moment, like I said, is not unique. And so somehow we got there as a species, somehow we got there as a gender, somehow we got there as an individual, right? Somehow we got there as just this moment. Okay, so if we got there, then we can look backwards and see how to get out of there. How many times have you guys, anybody, has ever bumped up against an opposition, a challenge, some difficulty, an edge of your belief, right? It was so catastrophic, so immense, so crazy. But then guess what? When you solved it and when you overcame it, on the other side of it, you look back and go, oh, that wasn't that bad. Right? I mean, in the moment though, when you're in the face of adversity and everything is huge and you're in the unknown, like I don't have an answer, right? That's when it feels overwhelming. And yet every single time you've solved it, right? Am I right? Every single time you're like, why can't we just go back to that knowing that we will solve it and stop stressing about it? Justified or not. I'm going to say this a lot, folks, because when we're in the face of adversity, we feel justified in that chaos, right? I don't know what to do. Maybe there's fear. maybe there's anxiety, maybe there's all kinds of conditions going on. We feel justified in feeling like, I don't like this, I don't want this, I hate this, I can't handle this, I'm stupid, I don't know what I'm doing, whatever it is that's going on inside. I know none of you guys say that. I'm just saying, maybe you've heard somebody else, right? This has said that before. So right, so as par for the course for Laurie and I, we're going to look at this from an epigenetic perspective.
Shocking, shocking.
Shocking, right? We're going to look at it from that perspective and reverse engineer some things about how we get out of these chronic conditions. And I really want to put some fundamentals, some very specific principles on the table, because we got there by only one course of action. Wait a minute, Ken. She's her and he's him, but I'm me, right? How can it all be one course of action to get to this chronic condition, right? Well, first of all, let's take a look at what chronic means. What's it mean? Anybody want to venture a guess? Chronic is not acute. Chronic is actually the opposite of acute. Acute is something that you cut your finger right now. That's an acute condition. Happened just now, and you're bleeding, and you got to fix it. But if you kept cutting your finger over and over again, the same spot for a decade, now it's a chronic, right? Would you do that? Who would do that? Nobody would do that.
Well, there are people who do cutting, so we won't go there.
Oh, okay, we're not going to go into that. But the point is though that's how you create an acute condition. It's something that's practiced over and over and over again within the body, and it becomes almost like an autonomic component, an automatic component to us. And so a chronic disease, if we're going to talk about disease, that's something that takes time. And so just like learning how to play basketball, that takes time. And when you're practicing how to play basketball, what do you develop? You develop a skill. Well, guess what a chronic condition is? It's your body having a skill. Wait a minute, man.
Well, better yet, why don't we just call it an educated response?
An educated response, yeah. So then what? Lori, when it comes to epigenetics, this educated response.
Right. And where does the educated response come from? I mean, Ken is amazing in that he's doing so much to heal the physical body. He has Cora effect now, and he's got these incredible modalities, some of which we're going to touch on a little bit later. And I am the geek that looks at the subconscious programming and all that emotional conflict and things that are going on. But where did that come from? Oh my God. I mean, some of it is learned experiences. Some of it came prior to the age of 7, because during the ages, remember we talked about this, guys, during the ages of 0 to 7, your brain is only operating up to the theta brainwave consciousness. And in that theta brainwave consciousness, there's no cognitive reasoning. So every single thing that happens is fact. If every time mom wears a blue dress, dad hits her, that's silliness gets programmed into the subconscious as fact, absolute fact. So then that subconscious energy keeps getting sent out into the universe. And guess what it attracts back? More of the same, more of the same. So that's the stuff that happened while you were physically here. Some of it you picked up in utero, but the real caveat to the whole thing is how much of it you picked up from your ancestors, because just like you inherit the physical DNA, you inherit the epigenetic emotional DNA as well. And that's where the Healy comes in. And that's how blessed we are to have it, especially that coaching module, because when we take that deep dive into the coaching module, and we're going to show you this a little bit later, I have a client and colleague and friend, dear friend of mine, who was recently diagnosed with a nasty chronic condition. And I wrote a health intention for her, and we put it into her Healy, and wait till you see the results. It goes back generation beyond generation beyond generation. It's so deeply ancestral. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I have only had 2 clients in how long has that coaching module been out? 4 years now? Something like that. Close to it. So 2 clients in 4 years that all these negative numbers came up. during in the analysis part. We'll show you on the screen in a little bit. And those negative numbers are digging back. They are showing us chronic conditions that have been in the family lineage for a very long time, a very long time. And it's a lot of ancestral stuff. And if you don't know what's in there, that's the scary part. I mean, the good news is that we have these amazing biofeedback devices that allow us to take a peek and find what's in there. And then, of course, as we know, go in and shake it all loose and then you can let it go instead of holding on to it like an old friendly shoe.
So what happens if, so first of all, let's give credit to the human genetic coding system, because it is extremely immense. It is essentially infinite in its possibilities. Now, there are some bandwidths that genetic coding operates within. So I've got some unique bandwidths within me. Lori, all of you, you've got some unique bandwidths within this genetic coding. That's how come I look like me and I don't look as beautiful as Lori, because then I would become Lori, and that would be weird. But anyway, the whole point is that we do have these bandwidths of genetic coding that keeps us looking like us on through our entire years. Now, the quality and some of the shifts and changes over the bandwidth within the becoming us quality has a lot of variables. So as we're becoming this us, all right, we're born with the genetic coding. And as Lori said, there are generations after generations after generations of content built into the coding, right? It's there. It's available at any time to be expressed. Every disease is there also. Now, here's a little mind blower. Every disease that's current and every disease that hasn't even been here yet is in that coding. All right. Let's just take the current and most, aware disease that everyone just went through, which is COVID.
Right.
There were many that didn't get that. Right. Many.
You didn't.
I didn't. Why not? Why didn't some not get it? Right. Some of you know people who didn't and didn't yourself. Why not? Was it because,
for the record, I'm going to throw this in there. My dear friend was not vaccinated and he didn't get it.
Same. So why not? And whether you're vaccinated or not,
right.
Many didn't get it. And both sides of the coin did get it, whether they were vaccinated or not. Right. So anyway, the point is that some did not. And there was already, and this goes back to every disorder, disease ever known to man, that some didn't get that. And there was a reason for that. It's because it's already built into their code. An immune system, the inability to get it. I don't care if you call it immune or whatever you want to call it. The inability to get or contract the disorder did not exist. I mean, it existed. The inability to get it existed. They could not get it. Already built into the genetic coding. Wow. Why is that? Well, it's just part of the immense blueprint, right? The intelligence that's within us. And every disease from here out is the same thing. There are humans that won't get it. Okay. So how is that possible? As I mentioned, some of it, we're going to look like us because of the bandwidth of our genetic coding, but only really 3% of that entire genetic coding determines that. 3% says, I'm still going to look like me, and I'm not going to be the beautiful Lori, right? I'm not going to morph into an elephant or some other kind of human form. 3%. The other 97% is an adaptive system, reading environment to make sure that I still survive within an environment. Okay. And when the bottom line detail of that is that the environment to that genetic code is the internal environment of our body. So the external environment of the cell is the internal environment of this body. And the internal environment of this body has fields of energy, fields, frequencies, right? This is, again, where our technology, our biohacking technology comes in and partners with that internal field of us and can also start to influence that 97% of the adaptive gene to make a higher quality cell. Now, on the other side of that token, on the other side of that same coin, lies the ability to make inefficient cells, lower quality cells, using the same modality, frequency. And typically that modality that makes the lower quality are emotions, right? We've got certain conditions that we attach to, belief structures, emotions. So in other words, when it comes to our family and that heritage that Lori talked about, that's there and available to express biology, when it comes to the way it happens, we start to go down the similar trail of our ancestors. How many of you guys have ever said, I'm never going to talk like my father did, or you'll never hear me sound like my mother? And then you're speaking to your child, or you're speaking to somebody, you're like, oh crap, that sounds just like my dad. Right? Right. I know probably none of you guys, but still you may know somebody that this happens to. And this is when we lower our awareness, and we're in this survival mode. That's when this potential for going backwards in time to our ancestors starts to take hold, right? So it's typically when you're, having some scolding of someone that father figure that you didn't want to mimic shows up, or that mother figure you didn't want to copy shows up, right? This is a lowering of consciousness. It is a lowering of our awareness, and we go back to primal states. So this is where this expression of a disorder can take hold. And then the more you practice it, the more it becomes stronger. And that 97% of the adaptive gene starts to express its hold on you as a biological form, to the tune of 800,000 cells per second. You guys have heard me say this before. Every second that you are in that stress response saying blah, 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 whatever it is, you're in that scolding mode and you're acting just like your ancestors, you become a version of that. Okay, every second.
And why is that? Because 90 to 98% of the time, we humans are reacting based upon subconscious programs. 90 to 98% of the time. Do you guys who have these Healys realize how flippin' lucky you are that you can go in and find out what is going on in your subconscious and correct it, shift it loose, and change it so you don't have to act the way your parents acted? Oh my God.
Right?
Blessed. So blessed.
Right? You can break that evolutionary chain. And that's really the important thing, is that the moment you decide, like I said, I'm not going to act like my mom, I'm not going to act like my dad. And yet when you go into that stress response, awareness is lowered, and perhaps you start acting like what you didn't want to act like. And I want to tell you this, justified or not, justified or not, 800,000 cells per second are going to become a version of your ancestors. Okay. Now, you can reverse that just as well. But I say, why spend any second, or why should I invest in 800,000 cells negatively? Right? That's not a good investment, is it? The longer we do that, the more we promote a chronic condition, and the more likely something's going to show up. So that's the epigenetic lens that we want to kind of tune into, right?
Exactly. But Ken, you brought up something really interesting in the green room when we were talking about those deep ancestral programmings that existed 100, 200 years ago. We didn't have the turbo cancers and things that we have today. So
Right.
what is it? Why is it that even though those subconscious programs, limiting beliefs, all that gunk that's in the subconscious, that came from the ancestors, and the ancestors didn't have the disease patterns that we have today? They had acute things happening. They didn't have the chronic things that we have today. And
Yep.
I can explain it in one word. Do you guys want to guess what it is? If you think you know, put it in the chat.
Can I do it? Can I put it in the chat? I think I know.
Sure, go for it. Stress.
The
It's
S word.
The S word, absolutely. Stress, physical stress, emotional stress, EMF frequencies, pollutions, toxins.
All of that, all of that stresses the biology, right? It stresses the biology. And so, as Nell said, food that has the toxic burdens, the chemical environments, and the lack of proper nutrients that stress the body. All of that. So to your answer, Nell, yes, it is food, but it is even more than just the food. The word stress, and I think it's become a household word, and we need to really clarify what stress is. Now, there is stress just in walking. There's an amount of stress in walking. You're actually stressing ligaments and tendons and muscles and bones and nervous systems, but it's not a condition that is detrimental, and its amplitude of influence in terms of a stress response on the nervous system is very, very low. So we have to talk about the amplitude of influence, as well as the amount of time, the length of influence. Those two things together, when it's high amplitude and long periods of time, that's the most dangerous, because it happens quickly. So in other words, it has a lot of power and it will last a long time. So let's just say you've got a fighter jet, right? And a fighter jet can scream across the sky really super fast, right? A lot of has to do with the amount of weight on this fighter jet. So it can't carry a lot of fuel. So it can go screaming across the sky really super fast for a little while, right? It can't go like around the planet. Now, so it's a lot of stress, but not a lot of longevity. Does that make sense? Right? So if we could put enough fuel on this jet to fly for years, now we have high amplitudes of influence, very fast, and longevity. So now those are the two kind of conditions that we involve ourselves in, to develop some kind of a disorder in the body. The body's designed to handle high levels of stress, like that jet engine shooting across the sky, 20% of your circadian rhythm. 20% of your circadian rhythm. Your circadian rhythm is a 24-hour day. Okay? That's a circadian rhythm. 1 day. And over that 1 day, if you are expressing 800,000 cells per second, and there's 86,400 seconds in a 24-hour period, how many cells is that? Quick. No.
Hey, ChatGPT is going to grab it and answer it. You said define stress, okay?
Yep.
My ChatGPT was open. It defined stress. And then it said, would you like me to tell you how that impacts the topic you were discussing in Monday Night Magic? Here's the answer. I can't even give you the answer because it's 1,064 characters over the limit. Oh my God, seriously.
It's a long answer.
It's a long answer.
It's a long answer. How do you think stress is influencing biology? Man, that's a long answer. So let's just break it down, though, into something simple. Like I said, your body's designed for high levels of extreme stress. And it can handle it and regenerate itself and reproduce itself and flourish and be completely high level of vitality, but only for 20% of your circadian rhythm. The other 80% is in the rest and digest. So high stress is high cortisol, right? A high cortisol, high inflammation, high energy consumption. Hear me say this: high energy consumption. So if I give you every circadian rhythm, you get a cup of energy. I don't care how big your cup is, but you get a cup of energy, and it will only last that circadian rhythm, that 24-hour cycle. At the end of that, it's spent. You don't get to take it with you the next day. And if you use it up too early, you're fatigued. Okay, does that make sense? So there's your cup of energy. Use it however you wish. So 20% of the time, you're using it naturally through this high stress response. 80% of the time, you're in repair, and correspondingly, so it is sympathetic versus parasympathetic. Stress response or fight or flight versus rest and digest or repair. Okay, so those are two main states the body's in. The nervous system is in those two main states. And we want that 20-80 rule, or 80-20 if you're looking at it from the other direction. In America, statistics say that Americans are 84% of their day in stress response.
That's ridiculously insane.
84%. So do we wonder where this chronic condition is coming in, this epidemic of disease in our country? Do we wonder? I mean, look at the correlation. The correlation has to do, we talked about where it's coming from, this stress response. And when the body is in that stress response, it's consuming energy at a super high rate of speed. So guess what? That cup of energy depleted before noon, or at least by 3. How many of you guys know somebody out there that by 3 o'clock, they're like at their desk, maybe head on the table at school, slobbering a little bit? I don't know. Just saying that's kind of the way it is by 3 in the afternoon, right? So usually that's somewhere around that 2 o'clock because of circadian rhythm. You've just maybe had a meal for lunch, right? The sun is coming past half mast, and we're starting to roll off into what would normally be into our evening. But energy levels, boom, tanked because our cup is empty. And that's just an inefficient way of utilizing our energy resource. Now, justified or not, during that day, if we have gotten an email and all of a sudden we overreact, we get crazy, nuts, angry, that's consuming energy at a much higher rate of speed. So we need tools, we need management skills, we need mindfulness practices that can help us manage and navigate these kind of conditions, no matter why they're here or who caused them. Because the side effect, we are getting so much justification from each other to be angry, to be sad, to be stressed out, to be inefficient, to be in lack, to be just downright grieving of some sort, some way, unhappy. We're justifying it to each other. We're helping each other, right? We're getting on board.
Some of us are. Some of us don't let our friends get away with that shit.
And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. Because I know, I'm not going to talk about anybody here, but maybe you know somebody that somebody comes, hey, Judy, oh my God, let me tell you what happened today. And then you're like, oh man, what a jerk. You're so right. Let's kick his butt. Come on, let's get together. Let's pull up. Let's ask our other friends to join us, and let's all get on board to have a whole bashing episode. Guess what? Not just is Judy telling the story and rehearsing the condition over and over, but now she's getting more coherent energy to build a higher level of signal for her own demise. What? Wait a minute. So this is like self-sabotage 4.0, right? The more people you get on board with your drama, your dilemma, your condition, the more your amplification you're getting in your own genetic expression. Think about that. Think about that. Justified or not, you're going to hear me say it over and over again. So what if it's justified? What Judy needs to do is manage her own crisis first in her own body, so it's not falling apart. She's not building 800,000 cells per second in herself that are leading to a chronic disorder eventually. Then when that's gone, she calls up her friend and says, oh my God, I'm having such an amazing day. And she doesn't even tell them about the crisis, right? That's not the point of the call. The point of the call is community, to spread love on her friend, right? It also then comes back to spread love in her own body. Think about this, right? This is how we break the cycle. The evolutionary cycle from our ancestors, right? That didn't have the chronic diseases that we have. And we're wondering why we are now, because we're helping each other do it.
Unless you're my friend.
Unless you're on this call, we're going to tell you, straighten up. We're going to tell you, here's how you fix it. Don't tell me how it's broken.
Right, exactly, exactly. So should we take a look at that Healy coaching module and show them how fixer-upable it is?
Yes.
Let's take a look at it. All right, so this is a friend of mine who was recently diagnosed with the C word, and I helped her write this intention. I am happy, healthy, vibrant, strong, and stable of mind, body, and spirit. I am grateful for all the blessings of my past, present, and future. I am thankful to God for guiding my mind and heart to my best life. I am at peace with my decisions, and I release all that is out of my control. I
Mm.
lovingly release and dissolve all limiting beliefs, negative memories, abuse, negative subconscious programs, epigenetic emotional ancestral programs from my ancestral lineage. And it goes on, but the coaching module doesn't like all the wordy emotions that I put into it, but it does go on. So I will send you guys the original if you're interested in using that for yourself. Okay, I will put that in the follow-up email. And so we run the analysis in the coaching module, and it came up self-worth, personal relationships, and social relationships as the lowest areas. And then we went in and started looking at it, and look at all these negative numbers, negative 73%, negative 80%. Usually those are positive numbers, and it lists them in the priority of how they have been input, or the most
And
important.
let's break that down for just a second, because the positive and negative, or well, you don't see it actually plus number, but we'll see this negative number here when this results come up. Those negative numbers mean subconscious. They mean systemic, larger, more overall umbrella conditions, ancestral, right? This is stuff that's goes way back, and a lot of times, for the most part, we're not even really aware of it from a conscious perspective in the present moment, right? So
Right,
let's clarify. That's where those negatives, they mean background. They mean whole systemic conditioning, ancestral.
right. And we're looking at this one up here at the top. It's a relatively significant life theme that you've come in with that's causing the health issue. Then we've got karmic ones. We've got ones that are coming from the parents. Parameters for happiness. Here we go. Negative 80%. I recognize the unconscious causes that lead me to believe that I can only be happy to the extent that I can make other people happy. This woman was such a people pleaser. It's not even great. It's crazy. In fact, such a people pleaser that she spent the last 3 years caregiving her significant other and rehabilitating her brother, who had been in jail for 30 years and was suddenly out, on top of having a full-time job, maintaining the home, doing all the cooking and cleaning.
And let me interject here again too for a second, Lori. So do you see the category with the D in it, like Lori was talking about D? So that D is it basically, that category is where the dilution of where this condition is, where it exists, whether it be spiritual, emotional, or physical. So the D relates to physical issues. So, and this person has a physical condition, right? Look at all these physical conditions, whether it's ancestral, wherever it is, where is it manifested? In the physical.
All right. Coming from the subconscious, which is setting off an emotion, which is setting off a chemical, which is firing and triggering the physical DNA and creating the issue.
Yeah.
So if we can clean this shit out of the subconscious, then what? Then we stand a chance at actually not not triggering the bad cells, for lack of a better term, and staying healthier in the first place. So I say, whether you have been diagnosed with something chronic or not, use this freaking intention, put it into your coaching module, and get this crap offline. It's that simple.
Yeah. So the thing, like Lori said, here's the significant thing of what she just said. Whether you're aware of it or not, this person is not, right? That negative me, this back there in the subconscious, and didn't even know it until something manifests in the physical body. And then it's like, oh crap, now what? Right. So in every case, whether you know it or not, work on things that we don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know. So might as well put in some things like let's just blanketly work on this topic of our best self and then watch what comes up, because what Healy uses in this whole protocol is a random noise generator, which interfaces with your consciousness and the field of information, right? This is an infinite field of information. So it then bridges the answer. So just because you don't have it and don't know it doesn't mean that there's not information about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And look at how many D's there are here. I mean, and we're going back, right? Grandparents. And so it goes parents, grandparents, D1, E36. We're looking at ancestral stuff. Look at all of that ancestral stuff.
yeah.
I mean,
one E, let's see, E1E36. Yeah, that's ancestors.
ancestral. Yeah.
Gee.
I know. I have the chart memorized. I'm not geeky. Not me. Not at all.
Yeah.
Memorize that chart. So I don't want to spend a lot more time on this because most of you have seen these scans, but I just really am going to encourage you. I'm going to share that intention with you. You've got the Healys. Most of you have the coaching module. If you don't, do yourself a favor and buy it. Just do it. Just flip and do it because it's worth it to clear this stuff. And what can I say? I would not tell you to be running those programs overnight if you aren't working with a coach or a therapist. If you are working with a coach or a therapist, I allow my clients to run them overnight. Right, Kim?
Here's the thing, somebody needs to hold space for you, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That's a big deal. Oftentimes, I'm not going to pick on any of the masculine, but guys are like, hey, I'm going to go hardcore, right? Let's just do this. No pain, no gain. Okay. Well, we're working with things outside the physical. And so, you could have some uncomfortable times, some uncomfortable days. And what's interesting about it is things just show up that you're not expecting, which is typically some sort of an emotional release. And it might not be convenient when you're maybe a teacher and you're in the middle of class and all of a sudden you go into a breakdown,
Right.
Right? Or whatever. It's the infinite intelligence has no time. There is no convenience. It's just going to happen when it happens, and you're going to have to deal with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what else can we tell them? What else can they do? How about that microbiome?
So we know that so much of what's going on in the biology, again, we just got done talking about how these genetic codes influence biology. Yes. And it's not like it's going to happen today, because your immune system typically weeds out a lot of junk, right? And it's fighting off things every moment. You don't know what cancer cells have been destroyed without your awareness, right? It happens all the time. It's not until the resources of our body for doing that job depletes that something can take hold. Okay. And this is where we're in that stress response. That means resources, aka energy, has been depleted, and the immune system starts to become compromised. And suddenly it's not fighting off as well as it used to. Okay. So where does your immune system reside? Where's majority of your immune system?
In your gut.
It's in the gut, right? And the muscle structures in your body operate your lymphatic system, which is again your cleansing warehouse, or you should say your cleansing car wash kind of way the body moves waste out, nutrients in. This lymphatic system is critical to your health, and it's part of that immune process. So muscles and movement, all that stuff is, it's all related. But if we are, think about this for a second. In the microbiome is the non-human part of you. Okay, it is a bacterial grouping, an organization, a community of diversity that's designed to not only digest your food, but it also helps write genetic coding. Wait a minute. How does it do that? How does it do that? So DNA, we've all heard of that. Well, there's another instruction component to DNA called RNA, and that RNA content comes from our microbiome. The way that humans evolve over time is a huge influence from our microbiome. Okay. Whether you believe in the wiggly little single cell organism in the mud from way back when, or you believe in Adam and Eve in the way that evolution happened, I don't want to talk about religion or evolution. What I want to talk about is then and now. Then and now. Wherever you believe it, let's go to the beginning, then, and let's come fast forward to now. There's a difference in genetic expression. There's a difference in bandwidth of DNA today in humans today. And when we look at the bacteria within this microbiome, it has a different genetic coding. It has mutated, and not in a positive way. Okay. And so the challenge is, how do we mutate that back? How did it get there in the first place? It got there in the first place through evolution, through the hundreds of years of, I'll be honest, I feel de-evolution. We've done things. We've done things to our planet. We've done things to our food supply. We've done things to the soil. We've done things to ourselves, period. Okay. And we can do things to fix that. It's not irreversible. It's just that the bacteria within the earth, within the soil, has also been compromised. And we, as a species living here, this is Mother Earth, folks. It's all of our possession, and we're not going anywhere. We live in a bubble, and the oxygen that we're breathing is the same oxygen within this planet that the dinosaurs had. Okay, we're not getting new ones. We're in a big ecosystem, and so we need to take care of what we have. And where we start this is in the bacterial influence, and we have to start reprogramming ours. So there is a resource in which has ancestral programming still in it. I don't care if you believe in the wiggly worm or Adam and Eve. It still has the ancestors from the origin. All right. And it's a very specific root that's available, and we can use this root. We can ingest this root, and it creates metabolites that starts to signal new genetic expressions. And it doesn't happen overnight, but no different than changing your diet. You change your diet, your body starts to evolve. You add fermented foods, you add various strains of these probiotics and bacterial strains, and we get to a certain level. You will plateau. You will get better, but you will plateau, because we are still within the pool of our resources, but you will get better. So I highly encourage everyone, increase the fermented foods in your diet. Go to whole foods, right? Kick out that saturated the fats and the sugars, cut them out, right? Get back into a whole food program. I have a whole dietary plan that I created for one of my programs that includes fermented foods. It includes whole foods. It includes diversity, which is another extremely important thing. Diversity. We were made to graze and to migrate, and we found stuff and we ate it, right? And it was like that diversity is what helped us. And now we drive from one point to a grocery store back, and we buy about the same bandwidth of stuff every time. Right? And make the same bandwidth of foods every time, right? That's I'm not saying you guys do, but I'm saying for the most part, that's a habitual process. And that puts us also into a bandwidth of health. So changing and evolving our diet to incorporate fermented foods, to incorporate whole foods, to stop with the packaged stuff, start making more things holistically. And then working on a very specific intermittent fasting process, because it's not until the body stops eating that we start triggering this toxic release mechanism. There's a process there. But with a microbiome influence, a metabolite, a very specific root extract, we can start rewriting this microbiome genetically, and it will take hold and will reverse engineer some of the things that have happened, bringing us back into some of our ancestral components that we once were. So,
Right.
so that's
So
available.
the gut reset program is what it is. And Ken and I did that in April live, and it's chock full. I think that PDF is 30, 40 pages long, and it's chock full of recipes, shopping lists, exercises, protocols. So the recordings are now available as an evergreen program, if you will. And there's a PDF that goes with it. So we will make sure that that goes into the show notes, and we'll make sure that it's in the email, and it's available for all of you to do at your leisure. At your leisure.
It's sometimes it's not what we know now. It's what we don't know yet that's going to move the needle a little bit on our health. And there is a lot of things. Today's in the biohacking world, the cool thing I like about the biohacking world is because there's a ton of research going on. There's a lot of science, but yet there's a lot of very smart scientists that are taking a look at the way that this stuff is influencing biology. And it's no longer being regulated by governmental institutions, right? That's a good thing, folks. In many ways, there's been so much fear that that there's so much crap out there, and that's true. But how many of you guys are familiar with the FDA, right? The regulatory system. Has it been a benefit, or has it hurt us? Okay, it was designed to be a benefit, yes, but
So they say.
there's been an evolution, and it's no longer what it meant to be in its beginning, and it's even gotten worse. So it's better now that this deregulation is starting to take place, and more science can prove what they can do. Prove it, right? And you can read all about that. There's in the Journal of Medicine just recently, the testosterone levels in humans, the cardiovascular institution says that at a certain level of testosterone, you are at risk for cardiovascular disease. That level of today's population was commonplace in my grandfather's population. Think about this. The level of what the medical field is saying leads to cardiovascular disease of testosterone today was commonplace of my grandfather. The soldiers in the wars had to go through testosterone regimens, and that measuring stick, those readings then of testosterone levels are at almost twice as much as they are in just the normal population of men today. Now, medical environment says that's cardiovascular risk. Why wasn't there everybody having a cardiovascular episode, back in my grandfather's day? Why not? It's because the numbers for our population standards have diminished over and over and over, decade after decade after decade. The population standards are lowering so that as a whole, we can say, yep, you're healthy. And yet, look at them. Look at America. They dropped the ratings for qualifying for obesity because it was too commonplace for everyone. There wasn't a BMI or body mass index that was within the athletic range much. And the sad part is it gave qualification for a handicap sticker, right? And so that marker for obesity has lowered. And that's just, when I say lowered, I mean the marker of health has lowered. The weight of a person, you can qualify for obesity at a lower weight than it used to be. Okay, that's the wrong direction if you ask me. All right.
So what are we going to do? We got to do what we can do, and it's your responsibility, people.
Yes,
I'm telling you, you've got to be responsible for your own health. You cannot rely on the doctors. You cannot rely on the traditional medical model. You need to get outside of that box, go out there. There's so much testing that can be done. I know Doc Steve's on the call tonight, and he's been talking with a lot of people about a lot of the cutting edge testing modalities that are out there. And then once you know the details, listen to this. Vishen Lakhiani from Mind Valley Academy literally took all of his holistic test results and all of his medical test results, plopped it into an AI that he works with. I think it's probably a better one than ChatGPT, and asked it to create a diet plan and a supplement plan and an exercise plan based on his needs. That's the world we live in today, people. Going to the flippin' doctor and just doing what they say is like putting a gun to your head. I'm sorry. That's how passionate I am about it. And we have so many tools between Ken and I that, and you're gonna want this email when it comes out because there's gonna be so many links in there. Let's talk hydrogen water. Hydrogen water. Let's make sure the body's really, really hydrated. Drinking tap water, oh my God, don't get me started.
right.
Right? I mean, you want good quality water and you want it hydrogenated. It's just that simple. So you
And what
have to learn these things.
do you guys know what pH stands for? pH, right? Let's drink alkalized water. pH, potential hydrogen, right? So it's like, huh, what? So
Right.
when you hydrogenate, you put hydrogen into your water, the potential hydrogen goes way up, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I got some hydrogen in here. And it's super easy to actually create that these days, from devices to tablets. Super easy. And there's resources now, from there's certain molecular ways to infuse hydrogen into water. And when you uptake that into the body, so little hint, cancer can't survive in an alkalized body. Right? And so when we start to change the pH of our body to a more alkaline state, chronic disease can't take hold. Why not? It's because it requires an acidic environment. Okay? It requires an acidic environment. And so if we just do some of these common practices, again, whole foods, there are so many vegetables out there that you can ingest just to help alkalize the body. And when we're eating these highly acidic foods, what we don't realize, the body's going to stay at a certain pH no matter what, or it'll die, right? It's going to stay at a certain pH. If we're ingesting high acidic foods, or we are promoting a stress response, the body becomes acidic and it uses resources to manage that pH. When it's acidic, it has to raise the pH up to a balanced neutral. And you know what it uses to do that? Calcium. It uses minerals, and it uses calcium to do so. To go from acidic to alkali, it uses calcium. That's one of the number one. That uses some other minerals, but that's the number one. And if you're not taking a lot of calcium, where do you think it comes from? Your bones. Your bones. So as one ages, and all of a sudden now you've got bone degeneration and joint disorders, and guess where that's coming from, right? It's this chronic condition over time that the body's just literal. It's just literal. It's just an objective device wanting to serve you as a host, a consciousness. And so when the consciousness creates stress responses, the body says, I just want to serve you. I'm going to build a genetic code that will be stressed out. I don't think anyone wants that, right?
No.
So our point here is there are ways that we can adjust. And when something comes into our awareness, what you see, what you taste, what you feel, what you hear, if it's something that's triggering you to be angry, to be diminished, to feel upset, take a moment, a pause moment, right? To think about what's going on to the tune of 800,000 cells per second. I urge you to take that moment and say, is this worth it? Is this worth it? Can I redirect this? Can I repurpose this? Can I readjust my perception of this? Can I make this for me, not against me? Can I do that? And when you say yes to those things, any one of those, you win. You win.
And I say, hell yes.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I can do it. I know
Absolutely. And we have brain entrainment devices like the brain tap headphones that,
Yep.
honest to God, I mean, there are so many programs in there. I was blown away. Isn't there over 2,000 different programs to train your brain away from so much of this crap that we've been discussing on this call tonight?
Yeah. So let's say you're struggling with that. Let's say you're struggling with that. Something comes in and you get triggered and you just fly off the handle. Before you notice it, you're shaking profusely. Maybe you're tearing up. You're feeling your face on fire, right? And you just can't get out of it, right? Maybe that's what's happening. Okay, I get it. And at that moment, you can't think of a breath technique that's going to get you out of it, right? You can't think of, some kind of a widget that you can poke the little dots, right? Or whatever it is, a fidget spinner that's on your finger and it's like focus on that instead of whatever. You can't get out of the response. Well, we have technology that can also, using lights and sound and very specific content that uses brain entrainment, uses binary beats, it uses brain entrainment frequencies, it uses neuro-linguistic programming, it uses what's called SMR or sensory motor response techniques. And all you're doing is listening. Put it on, it's got optic infusion that works on left hemisphere, right hemisphere. It's a headset, gosh. It's a headset. It's like putting on your headphones and listening to music to overcome the environment. This just takes it tenfold higher. And it's got programs for every condition, audio books that you can listen to that puts the brain into learning mode through frequency, right? Through frequency to make it easier for your retention. Cognitive decline programs to move your condition of cognitive decline, whatever it is, up, to move it back up. It's training the brain. I call it brain fitness. I don't call it brain fitness. The founders call it brain fitness. I just love brain fitness. Anything that has the word fitness in it, to me, sounds like a good thing to me. But it's called brain fitness. And so you can own this, and there's a subscription you can get with it. You can buy it in a year's block. And I tell you what, if you use this religiously for a year, there are, they call them playlists, but there are session lists that you can go one after the other to move in any direction from addiction to a new career and abundance. It's all there. So if there's a struggle here in your world, number one, let's find a way to relax through it. Number one, let's find a way, right? Reach out to us. Reach out to us. If you're struggling, don't do it by yourself. I promise you, every person that comes on board on your team of success, we're going to call that, Team Elman success, right? Team Dixie success, whatever it is. You guys need a team around you, because in the moments of stress and chaos, your brain goes primal. It goes back to the programming, and we've got to reset that, rebuild that, and recreate a new version of you. And that just takes a little time and a little support. Does that make sense?
100%, 100%. And there's so many things. I mean, you tell us what's wrong, we've got answers, we've got solutions, we've got PEMF mats, red light therapies, green light therapies. I mean, Ken was, you guys see that picture on Facebook? He's sitting in the green room. I mean, literally, he had all these lights shining over him as he's sitting back in this chair. He's on the PEMF mat, and he's got panels on each side. It's just, it's a great picture. We thought
I'm in an energy sandwich, right? I'm the meat in the middle of an energy sandwich, and it's like it's so. If we can put ourselves there, and it's interesting, you know. I'm a full day. It's only is today Monday? Yeah, it seems like it's only Monday, and yet it's been a full week already, right? And so it's like, okay, it's time for Lori and I to get in the green room and get this solidified and put everything together. And I'm like, I got nothing, Lori. I got nothing. Hang on a minute. I'm sitting in my sound bed. I'm running the frequencies. We're on this call. We're in the green room. We're doing this thing, and I'm feeling the lift. I'm feeling it. And then I move over. Hey, I'm coming with me. Coming with me, Lori. Here you come. You're coming with me. I go over to my other station. Bam, kick that all on. And then all of the green illumination, you know. And by the end of our call, I'm charged up. I'm ready to go. I'm like,
oh my God, you guys, seriously, at the beginning of the call, I thought, we're not doing this tonight. I really, that's what I thought. I had to put on my best coaching tools. I had to be that cheerleader and get in there and go, okay. So he's got all the physical stuff going on, and I'm being the cheerleader working through all the other stuff. It was quite the afternoon. It really was. And the point is, the stuff works.
oh my gosh, it works very
Works.
well. And it's not a pill. It's not a pill. I'm not popping a pharmaceutical, right? I'm empowering the body, right? There you go, right there. See that?
Quora effect,
Empowering
empowering
the
the body.
body, right?
Yes.
So we're giving the power back to the body, and the body objectively heals itself. That's the tools. But we got to know the tools, and you got to use them. And then all of a sudden you're going to see the result. It's not hard. And it's very quick. It's very quick. High amplitudes of influence, right? Like that jet screaming across the sky. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does. It absolutely does. So you got all these tools, and I have another 6-week group coaching program coming up at the end of the month. It's going to be down and dirty. We're going to go in there every single week, every Thursday for 6 weeks, and we're just going to clean up what's in the way.
Woohoo!
And I have people on this call tonight that have taken some of them, and man, it works, right?
Oh my gosh. And Bonita just there's a comment. She says, I just got back from a scalar light session. So if you guys aren't familiar with scalar waves have no time, no dimension, no limit, and they're incredible. The technology I have in the healing center, I have a whole series of modalities. I can click on scalar wave version, and everything becomes every one of those frequencies becomes timeless, forever, omnipresent. And it's like you can feel it. You literally feel it. So if I would invite every single one of you guys, come and visit. Let's do a fly-in. Come into Spokane. I will give you a free session. I will show you how this works. And I guarantee you, it will be a crazy moment for you to see what happens in your body. Just give me a call.
Absolutely. But and then the thing is, okay, so he's in Spokane. So now what? Now where do you live? You can't go flying out there all the time. I mean, you could, but you'd be cost effective more farther ahead if you just set up a home spa. And he's got a basic system for under 10 grand. You can set up most of these modalities in your home. And I'm not just saying this because he's my friend and it's his new business and it's what he's doing. I'm saying it because it actually is the current trend in holistic health and wellness. It's home wellness spas, home wellness like centers of health and well-being. In fact, my roommate and I have a room upstairs. We call it our healing room. And we're just collecting more and more modalities. And it's like, there's a lot of angels on the walls too, you guys. Lots of angels. So it
Yeah,
helps.
don't do it all at once.
Right.
I can show you a way. We can blueprint this out a bit at a time. It's like you can build it. There's not really a wrong way, but it builds upon itself. And the level of influence you get over time is incredible. So like the energy sandwich I was in, that's a pretty incredible station. Um, but you know, you don't have to go all out all at once. Just little steps, baby steps, get going. Technology is now, as Lori said, when it comes to home healing, people are creating home healing centers that I am sitting right now on a version of the mat that I have in my center, which is a
Right.
version of the mat that Lori's got, she's talking about, right? I'm sitting on one right now. And while we've been on this call, I've been running certain frequencies into my body, and you can have one too, and sitting in that spot. And it's pretty affordable, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah. So that's just we're trying to encourage you guys, um, let you know, yes, there's chronic things out there, but guess what? More importantly, there's things you can do about it. And it does require effort. It does require something different than you're doing now, right? It does require understanding what's available to you and knowing what works. The one thing as an engineer, I, as Lori said earlier, I reverse engineer everything. And then I vet the things that work the best, right? You don't have to spend the crazy prices that some of the marketing has built for something that will do the same thing that the technology was built for. Marketing can build hype and exaggerate pricing. And so everything that I've got within my center, everything I have is of the highest quality, but yet the most affordability. So super cool, right? Super fun.
It
All right.
is. So we've kept him kind of long tonight. We have a tendency to do that though, don't we?
Sorry.
It's our thing. It's what we just get so excited that we just lose track of time.
Another new technology. I don't know if you,
Yes. Yeah, Healy Highway. I just wrote up um a whole comparison of all the different delivery systems of the Healy and did a comparison and showed people why that high wave is a wise investment.
yeah. So the high wave, essentially the Healy goes into a bracket that you wear around your wrist. And oh, and by the way, tomorrow is Healy for Beginners and Beyond. So I'll be a co-host there. We'll be talking about this very device right here in its entirety. So that will be with Jake Barron, head of ops. That will be with Henry Pena, you guys know, head of onboarding, and then myself. We're going to be dissecting how it works and what it's doing. Primarily, basically, the fundamental process of what Healy does is another way of delivering the frequencies globally amongst your cell structures. Globally, I'm also wearing the microcurrent, right? So you can do things simultaneously. You can also have your Mag Healy sitting here. Now you've got a trifecta of amazing things, right? And I say don't just do one. Is it enough to just eat broccoli? No. Is it enough to just drink a glass of water once? No. There's things you do constantly all the time, and so we can accent this, and it's extremely valuable when we do that. This is called synergy. In the engineering world or the laws of physics, there is constructive interference and destructive interference. Constructive interference is what I've got. I've got frequencies on a higher carrier wave. It's a 5 megahertz carrier wave that goes globally amongst my whole body. I have microcurrent that systemically touches my body through the majority of my upper section. And I've got mag healing that goes around the entire room. Right. So they're different modalities speaking to different systems, or well, speaking in different ways to the system. So here's the call. Lori put the information in there. It's tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. It's on the Telegram group. There is a link there that you can tap on right now from the chat, and you can go and register to get on that call tomorrow. If you can't make it, it is recorded and it'll be on the YouTube channel. But please, if you can, it's funny because the Telegram post shows Ken Close as the host there. I'm the co-host, right? Jake is the host. But anyway, get on board to that call, and hopefully I'll see you guys there tomorrow.
Okay, so is Tech Tip Tuesday the same time?
Tech Tip Tuesday this is in lieu of. So
Oh, okay.
Healy for Beginners and Beyond is in lieu of Tech Tip Tuesday.
Okay.
Last week we had the Frequencies and Friends in lieu of Tech Tip Tuesday. So it's been pushed out, 3 weeks, right? So, but this is definitely worth in lieu of right there, is to get on that call. Let's see, the Tech Tip Tuesday one.
I
That
posted was for August 26th, but I was really just trying to grab the links. So it'll be next week, Tuesday.
Yeah, go to healyfbb.com. healyfbb.com. So it's short for for friend beginners and beyond.
Beginners and beyond.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, that'll get you on that call, and you'll learn all about the high wave. So
Cool. Absolutely. So should we tell them about the podcast change?
yes.
All right. I will. Before you got on, I was sharing with them how busy we both are and how you're seeing people from early morning until 7 at night Pacific time, and how my position as Chief Consciousness Officer of Find Your Mentor is kicking into full gear. So Ken and I had a long heart-to-heart talk about this today. What could we do to continue to serve you and not make ourselves go insane? Essentially what it is. And what we realized is that all of this information is incredible and valuable, and we love you guys and we love doing this. So we don't want to stop. We've got a great synergy. We know that. We love working together, and we have incredible things to share. So rather than just telling you, there will no longer be a Monday Night Magic, what we're saying is we're switching from live once a month calls to pure podcast format. You can go, the recordings will be there. We'll put them out. We'll drop them once a month on the second Tuesday, just like we do now. But it enables us. Monday. Oh my God. We laugh about this all the time because I always say Tuesday for some obscure reason. Maybe because he does Tech Tip Tuesday and it's on my screen and I'm looking at it. So we'll drop it on the second Monday of every month, and it'll be on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all the platforms out there. So we're not going anywhere. We're just not going to be live because it's really challenging for our current new responsibilities and schedules. So you still get us.
You still have access to us. So don't think, we're going to, we'll have the email modality. We're still going to build useful content. We're still going to, I'm still going to vet all kinds of amazing biohacking stuff and still bring you the best we can to heal you. Right. I am a firm believer in healing the body. Let's just make chronic disorders obsolete. Right? Rather than try to fight against them, let's just make them obsolete by giving the body the power back. And so when we do that, that's done through a lot of times through coaching, through information we can share, and then just follow the model. How many of you guys have learned things over the times Lori and I've been doing this, and you've implemented them and you've found some level of success, right? Some level of change. And maybe you've rehearsed that to other people and they've found some level of success or some level of change. That's what we want. We want to spread this out so that people can start getting benefit to the masses. My intention is to heal the world, right? and Lori's going to change consciousness.
100%.
100%. But we need help. And so we want to be able to broadcast the information. And then once you guys assimilate the information and you get a response, you've now become a version of self that now goes out and heals also, because the old version is gone, right? This is how we genetically shift the future. Does that sound okay?
We're here for you. We love you guys. We've been doing this for 3 years. 3 years. And we're not going anywhere. We're just changing things up a bit. And guess what? We'll be even better for you by doing it this way.
Well, it's going to be live video, right? It's still going to be video, so you'll still be able to see us.
Yes.
Right? We're going to
Yes.
record it in video form, so you can still see, and I get it. You know, it feels more live when there's a face and you're not just listening to some kind of a radio station, right?
Absolutely.
I'm 100%, and I would rather that you and I were all sitting in the same room, and we
God,
were.
right?
I would much rather that. I'm a in-person person.
Yeah.
But you know, the COVID thing taught us how to use YouTube a lot. I mean, Zoom a lot, and so now we've done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would still rather sit there across the table, drink some tea, and heal each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Zoom, for those techno geeks out there, Zoom allows us a video file as well as a video file and an audio file. So we can send the audio file to the podcast platforms, but this YouTube will still be just like this, just like our recordings are now.
Yes. And thank you very much for all the kudos in the chat. I love you guys. We're here because you're here. You know, I mean, I would still be healing myself. That's the first way we should be living our lives, healing ourselves first, and then our friends and family, right? Everyone else. So it's super important that we get going there. Nell's asking about suggestions about fermented foods. So we, like I said, we do have a whole gut reset program that kind of goes into that, and it's super useful. The gut reset program has a way of eating as well as supplements that's to reprogram your gut biome. There's also another level to that once you've completed that process, that we can continue to restructure that genetic outcome, which again, it's cutting edge stuff. This is a resource out of Switzerland that I've been working with people to really shift healing the world. I mean, we got a big job to do, so we might as well start here.
Absolutely. And you never know. We might throw a live in every now and again. We'll keep you posted. So
I think we will.
Right? Just keep watching for the emails. You're still going to get the email every month. It's just going to have the link to where we've dropped the podcast.
Well, we love you guys. Sorry, it's a little over our normal, but I'm glad you were all here and stuck with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for spending your evening with us. All right. We love you.
Stay tuned for our next evolution. Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Right. Bye, you guys.